Hi, Amy.
Abby.
Last night we watched Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 8, and our bonus content today will cover The Other Way, Season 6, Episode 16. 16!
Almost
How
done.
many? Anymore. I'm getting tired.
I am also getting tired. Do we know what's coming up next, though?
I'm getting old. No, I don't know what's coming up next. Do you? Have you heard me? No idea. I don't care. Whatever it is, we'll watch it. As long as, as long as it's not The Last Resort.
I don't think I've ever seen The Last Resort.
It's
I think I
awful.
just read too many horrible things about it, and I was just, no, I'm not going to waste my time.
Good for you. Don't waste your time. Let's just remind the audience, if you prefer to watch our podcast on video, then head over to our YouTube channel at 90 Day Fiancé Honestly. And now let's wade through the muck that was last night's show. Starting with Brian and Ingrid. I love that she was alone. That was reassuring. And she was talking about Brian as a brute, gross, and incomprehensible. I could not agree more. How about you?
I thought it was just so beautiful. Spot on. I'm so glad that she saw that he was trying to be manipulative. I don't think my hope held up nearly as much as what the beginning had suggested.
It was a bit of a letdown, to be sure. I was so encouraged by the opening scene that there's definitely been some time that's passed. They've had 2 days apart from each other, which is fantastic. But then when we go to Brian and we see him call his sister on the phone to get some immediate disgust from Amy. Yeah. Okay, so he talks to his sister. He says Ingrid, was sending him mixed signals. And the sister replies with, "You can't act like a caveman." Amen to that. No, you cannot act like a caveman. Especially today. No. And I love that she gave this really concise and accurate explanation about how Brian's behavior was not respectful, how he should always ask first, get consent, and how he absolutely must understand that Ingrid feels, and a lot of women feel, like they want to know their partner better before allowing those certain activities to take place.
I thought it was beautiful that she had put him in his place and was very succinct with her explanation.
Yeah.
I do believe that it went in one ear and out the other.
Yes, I would agree.
However, she did her part by calling him out on it.
That's all you can do with somebody like Brian, is just tell the truth. And it is what it is. He did not ask for consent, and he should have. And what he was trying to do to Ingrid without getting consent first is incredibly intimate. And like the sister describes, some women feel that that's even more intimate, pardon the cattail, than sex. So, penetrative sex, if we have to be precise. So, of course, she's going to want to know him better, have a more firm relationship with him before she engages in that with him. But, as you said, our hopes are high, but the reality brings those hopes down, because what Brian says after this phone call, as if it's gone in one ear and out the other, like you mentioned, is that he's still trying to blame Ingrid rather than take responsibility. He said, "Oh, she's being standoffish, or she doesn't want to be intimate with somebody who's in a wheelchair," which is really, really low. Like, of course she doesn't. She's been with you for 2 years online. She's been with you for the entire time in Brazil while you've been there, adapting to and dealing with all of the crap that you've thrown at her, which has been very fast and furious. And now you get into this intimate situation where wheelchairs do not matter whatsoever. And he crosses a line, doesn't ask for consent. And she says, no, that's her fault.
He just keeps playing the victim card and throwing the disability thing around as if, Ingrid's a horrible person because she's intolerant of people with disabilities. But if that was a hindrance to her or if that was a hindrance to her at all, she would have kiboshed this from the very beginning.
Not only that, but if he has the least bit of an inkling that his wheelchair is a difficulty for her and an impediment to their relationship, especially to being intimate, then why doesn't he choose somebody else? He could choose someone else. He's not tied to Ingrid. He has options. So he feels that this is going to be the be all and end all of their relationship, the fact that he's in a wheelchair. Then move on, man. You're 52 or whatever. You're a big boy. Put on your big boy pants and move on. But no, they meet to talk because, of course, they have to. I'm sure this is production driven. And is he about to take responsibility and accountability and apologize? And is he so tense? I can't stand it. The suspense is killing me. I should add to that, is he going to do any of those things in a meaningful? Do you think he's capable of that?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the fact that Ingrid did say to him that he was creating the confusion in his head regarding that situation. I thought that was great. And then his response was, so why did you say no? Which felt like a request, like, explain yourself. Like, how dare you say no to me?
Well, but that's the conflict in that he thinks she was being standoffish, that she was the one who was teasing him. Like he's framing it in that kind of a light where she's teasing him, and at the last minute she's saying, no, that's not what I want, only to get him in trouble, not for any other purpose. When in fact, he's the one who's crossed a boundary, and she has to say, I'm not comfortable with that. Don't do that, please. I don't appreciate that. Don't want that right now. And he can't deal with the rejection. And I hesitate to use the word rejection because it's not as if it's rejection. She's not rejecting him. She's just saying that I do not wish to have at this moment.
And she also doesn't want to have sex without a condom. So it's not that she doesn't want to be intimate with him. She just has those certain boundaries, which he has to respect.
And I think the fact that he didn't have a condom with him says it all. Because a man who prepares for an intimate relationship by bringing a whole bunch of Viagra with him and placing them strategically in his hotel room so he can reach them from wherever place it is that he is at the moment of crisis, why does he not have a single condom with him? Because he expected to not need to use one with her. And what kind of assumption is that? That's disgusting.
I mean, he went out of his way to bring the Viagra and to also buy her that lingerie. So that's another thing. He completely orchestrated this entire situation. So is he saying that by her putting on the lingerie and actually walking out with it, like that was her giving consent, even though that's not what he's saying at all? But like, how is it her fault when he was the one that did that? But anyway, so he gets the Viagra, he buys her this lingerie, and yet couldn't buy a box of condoms at the same time.
No, I just find the assumption in that so disgusting.
He never intended to.
No, he did not. How do you know that you don't have something that you're going to pass to her? How do you know that she's okay with having unprotected sex with this person that she's meeting in real life for the very first time? Why would you assume that? And yeah, he does this really confusing thing where he blames her. He says she was playing with him. She was toying with him. She should be serious. She should be well-intentioned. But yeah, Brian, it's all in your head. And then these crocodile tears that he sheds when he's giving his apology. And yeah, I don't buy the apology at all. I feel like all of that was coming from a place of just wanting to have a second chance with her. All he really wants to do is to get into her pants. Ultimately, that's his goal. That's all he cares about. So he's going to do whatever he has to in order to get there.
It's a game to him.
Yeah. And she is not gullible because we see her be quite thoughtful and introspective about everything that's going on and be carefully considering all of her emotions, but more like she's innocently hoping that he's true she wants to believe that his intentions are good. And so she's coming from that place and he's taking advantage of that. Saying, okay, well, I've cried my tears. I've said I'm sorry. So now let's go to this other city and go have sex there. Well, he doesn't say let's go have sex there, but that's the implication. And
Let's try this again.
Yeah. And she, being a nice person, being the kind of person who is generous and kind and thoughtful and believes that everybody deserves a second chance, goes along with it. And we're going to end up in the same situation where he's going to want to have sex with her. Hopefully he buys some condoms this time so that if she decides that she doesn't want to engage in that, she's protected. And let's see where it goes.
How much do you want to bet that he will or will not purchase condoms?
I would bet $100 million that he will not purchase condoms. But I think that she might show up with them, which would be the smart move.
I think that if he doesn't put in the effort to buy the condoms, then it's obviously too much effort than it's worth, and therefore he doesn't deserve to have anything. At this point, I don't think he deserves to have anything at all. But if she takes that initiative to buy the condoms, I think that's just giving him an out.
Scott, keep your nose off the microphone, please. What a naughty kitty. But he definitely has some opinions about this, I can tell, just by the way he was nudging the thing, big circle thing.
I want to call it the spit guard.
Yeah. Shall we move on and visit with Niles and Matilda?
Yes.
All right, it's the last day in the crop, and it is also a very special day. It's proposal day. But first, we do have to deal with one very small, tiny, inconsequential detail, which is a very small, very slight, very minor adjustment to the wedding plan. Or not. Maybe
the wedding plans that involve 200 people that are just waiting on the sidelines, waiting to be called in.
Those people. And yes, maybe we'll just have a proposal first. Maybe that'll cushion the blow. And then we'll do the big reveal. Or maybe let's just do the proposal. Let's have the reveal later on today, like maybe after dinner. There were so many times when Niles had the perfect opening, the perfect opportunity, and he skated on by like it was nothing because he's so afraid of confrontation. He's so worried about Matilda's reaction.
I thought it was so funny. He's like, I could have said something now, but now I'm just going to keep waiting. Like, you realize that every minute, every second that you don't say this to her, it's just going to make it so much worse.
Yeah. Yes, it does. So he finally does get the words out over dinner. Yay. Way to go, Niles. Excellent. I'm very proud of him. He says, we can't do the wedding on this trip. Okay. Great. The words are out. It has been spoken. Now we just have to deal with the reaction.
The announcement has been made.
Matilda is about as happy about this as you would expect for somebody who has single-handedly gone ahead and planned a wedding of more than 200 people and that now will need to be canceled entirely. She's confused. She's embarrassed.
Not canceled. Postponed.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Postponing the wedding, not canceling. She uses the word disgrace quite a few times. Like, you are disgracing me. It's a disgrace. So she's not taking it well.
And what am I supposed to tell all of these people? Well, perhaps you shouldn't have told all of these people to begin with. So perhaps you have created the situation that now you have to clean up.
She has, because she has gone ahead and made all the arrangements on her own. But I feel like Niles has not been succinct enough with her in all of their conversations leading up to this moment when he was still back in the US, and she was going ahead and planning this. Because there are definitely going to be arguments about, well, you said that, but I said this. No, I said this. I said no wedding but you went ahead. I'm not quite sure who to believe, but I feel like from what we've seen of Niles and his inability to confront somebody head on about a specific problem, that he has not been direct with Matilda about not wanting to have the wedding in all of their previous conversations.
I agree. And I feel like that's supported by the fact that this is such a big deal.
Yeah. That's about all we get from them. And then we move on to Sunny and Veah. If you're okay.
Wait, before we move on,
Was there
I
food?
just no,
No?
I don't remember, which is weird. But I just wanted to say that I don't think that we saw her full reaction at the restaurant. I think they're saving some of the drama for next week.
Definitely. Ready for Sunny? Yeah. Because Sunny has no idea, just like Matilda, of what's about to happen. So there's no inkling at all of the wonderful thing that is coming down the road towards him at a high rate of velocity. And meanwhile, he's planning the most romantic date for him and Veah.
This is another one of those. You had several decent opportunities to bring this up where it wouldn't have been an uncomfortable segue.
Mm-hmm.
But no, not ready.
Not to mention the fact that Veah could have chosen somebody else to bring with her had she really needed the extra support to South Africa. She could have brought that friend with her who travels a lot, who is familiar with airports and passports and all the rest of it. And she keeps talking. This just occurred to me this morning. She keeps talking about the fact that she needs somebody to support her in her traveling because she hasn't done it before. But does she not have a camera crew from TLC traveling with her? They don't just show up in South Africa via teleporter.
Yeah, but they're not her emotional support camera crew.
Whatever. Okay. She just wants it all, and that really annoys me. She knows that Sunny gets really, really jealous. She's hiding this big secret, and yet she wants everybody to get along like roses and ponies and unicorns and rainbows.
And she puts him in a position that's absolutely going to trigger his jealousy.
Yeah. Especially given the fact that Rory has been kind of needling him or poking him on social media. What did he do to Sunny's photos? He was sending nasty emojis or something?
It was like laughing emojis, I think.
Right. So making fun of him online. And now the guy is there. And he's her.
Yeah.
This is not going to work. Veah, you are living in a dreamland. This will never go well. But the date is very romantic. They go on this gondola ride, which is very sweet. There's a moment when Sunny asks her straight on, do you have anything that you need to tell me? And like Niles, she gets right on by. Nope, nothing to tell you, nothing to see here. Everything is A-okay. And then, unfortunately, because the event, the bomb dropped 2 hours later when the cameras are not even on, so we don't even see it happen. He happens to see her phone screen and sees the photo of her and Rory on the plane, so he knows that Rory came with her, and he flipped out.
What an awful way for him to find out, too.
Yeah, very awful. When he tells her to go back to the U.S., my heart dropped. I mean, yes, he has every right to say that to her if that's how he's feeling, but he's really mad. Like, very, very angry. He feels like she has completely broken his trust, and she can't see it from his perspective for the life of her. I found that really interesting, that she was just focused on Rory and I are broken up, so it doesn't matter. But he was saying, but you kept this from me. This was a secret. When were you going to tell me? And she's like, oh, I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you eventually. It's all fine.
But I told you now.
But it doesn't acknowledge what he wants to be acknowledged, which is that she was keeping a secret and she has effectively broken his trust. And she can't get to that same point. I think if she had been able to do that, to say, look, I'm really sorry, and I know I'm going to have to rebuild your faith in me and work on building the trust back up between us again, that he would have had a different reaction, perhaps. I don't know. But the fact that she was focusing just on her own issues with it, I think made it even worse. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. I think his feelings are completely valid. I appreciate that, that he got so mad, because I feel like there have been so many situations, especially in this season, where people have underreacted. So I'm very glad that, he laid down that law. Those are his hard boundaries. And, we've been talking for weeks about, who gets kicked off the show.
Yeah.
And I wasn't completely sure who it was, but now I'm pretty damn sure it'll be these two.
I think you're right. Yeah. So in the end, Sonny packs up all of his stuff and he leaves. Wow. What a statement.
Mm-hmm.
He's just completely fed up with her not telling him the truth, having told him the truth earlier on. Like she could have, and she did not. She has not been honest with him, and she has not owned her mistake, nor has she apologized to him.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go. Well, way to create this situation all entirely on your own. Congratulations.
If only there was a way to completely avoid this situation. Oh, why? Wow.
But there isn't. There totally is not, because obviously you keep it a secret from your current boyfriend that your ex-boyfriend is traveling with you. Obvious.
It's all about the secrets, man. All about the secrets.
We love this. Shall we go to Vanja and Bozo?
Bozo? Sure.
Okay, because they also have a secret.
That I actually wrote that down. Another secret. Oh, no.
Has to be a prerequisite for being on a 90 Day Fiancé show. You must have a secret that will be explosive if it gets out. Okay. First of all, I do want to make a small announcement. This is Vanya's lesson of the day. Are you ready?
Yes.
Never, ever wear heels, especially 5-inch heels, when you have a connecting flight. Here under the lesson.
Yeah.
Okay. That bit of wisdom has been conveyed to everyone. Now we may continue.
I can't imagine wearing stilettos on a flight anyway. I have fairly long legs to begin with, and then you throw the shoes. No.
But that's her choice.
Anyway, please continue.
Yeah. Did you know that Bozo is a stray dog? People pet him and give him treats in the street.
I think that's adorable and also sad at the same time. Does his mother not feed him at home? How long has he been doing this for? Is it something that started as an adult? Or has he just been doing this since a child? Yeah, I'll just go over here and go over here. And
maybe
Thank
it's
you.
something that's endemic to split in Croatia. The men wander around like stray puppies and dogs, and the people pet them. Give them little bits of ice cream as treats. Anyway, one of the interesting things that we learned in this particular episode is that the woman that Bozo started seeing while he was still with Vanja was his ex-girlfriend of 6 years.
Oh, jeez.
Disgust. Like, that was a lot. For me, my eyebrows really went up when he said it was her. It wasn't just some rando. It was his ex-girlfriend of 6 years. They were seeing if it would work one last time.
Well, on one hand, I think it's good that they got it out of their system and decided that it wasn't going to work for them.
Did they?
That was going to be the other hand. What if they didn't?
Yeah, we don't know. The next thing that we learned is that Bozo lives with his mom. I think we knew that last week. But she is very, 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 very religious. Is Bozo similarly inclined? Is he very, 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 very religious?
I didn't get that sense. I feel like he does it more to appease his mother than anything.
I got that sense too. However, I thought perhaps he could be hiding it because he doesn't think that it will be appealing to the cameras for him to appear as devout as she is.
Perhaps.
I want to know more. I hope we will find out more in the coming episode. So, his mom, hyper-religious mom, does not know that Vanja exists. Bit of a red flag. Now, why would he not explain to his mom that he has met somebody online and tell her all about Vanja? Theories?
Probably because he doesn't want to give her hope because she's very insistent that, he's getting on in years and she just wants to see him married and happy. And if he tells her that he's seeing someone, then I feel like she would get super excited, and maybe he didn't want to tell her until it was more official because she hasn't come to visit yet. This is going to be the first time.
Well, I had two thoughts, including one that it could be, but it could be a problem for Vanya that Bozo and his mom are so religious, or conversely, it could be a problem for Bozo's mom that Vanya is not exotic dancer, but dances in very skimpy costumes and does belly dancing and types of dances that are considered seductive as part of one of her jobs, I suppose.
I hadn't considered that, but you're right. Could have to do with modesty.
That's what I was wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's an additional secret that is revealed during this episode. It's so filled with secrets, delicious secrets. Now, Bozo has lied about being a basketball player as his full-time job. He does not play anymore. He does not have a job. He lives with mom and his aunt and does not work. No income. And how old is he?
Perfect.
38. He's a catch.
And, I started this episode thinking, oh, he's very emotionally intelligent and he's funny and obviously he's charismatic and just he's great with people. And then all these bombs start dropping. What else has he told us?
Indeed.
How is this going to turn out when she arrives?
Indeed.
And also, why isn't he responding to her?
That I was thinking perhaps because mom doesn't know and she might be calling at a time when he's with mom. And so he's not able to answer the phone because then he'd have to explain, oh, that was Vanya on the phone. And by the way, she's my girlfriend. She's coming here tomorrow. That's the only thing that really popped into mind that might be a reasonable explanation.
But she said that he hasn't responded to anything all day.
Yeah.
So it's not just, during the connecting flight or whatever, all day.
Right. Yeah. And he could, you're right. He could send a text. Say, I'm here, really busy.
Yeah.
Sorry, love you, can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
Then you're
something.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no more for the Bozo and the Vanya.
Nope.
Okay. Loren and Faith come up next. Let's all breathe because Lauren's delusion is really, really difficult to deal with.
It's real. It's real.
He actually thinks that he can go from where he stands right now with Faith, which is firmly in the friend zone, back to boyfriend, and from then to fiance. In what universe would that happen?
In his
leaky penis universe.
I made a note that said, so to clarify that he did talk about, buying her parents a house. They could all move into the house and wouldn't that be so lovely? So I said that this guy has big dreams and pockets just as shallow.
His pockets are minuscule. They are the pockets of a mouse.
They are women's pockets because they don't exist.
Good one. This whole
they're the fake
segment
ones
was so
that just look like a pocket.
Oh, and then there's nothing there. Yeah.
Yes.
You.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's like
they fly.
The decoy pocket.
They fly to Lake, I think is the name of the island.
I think so.
They're talking in the car on the way to their hotel, and then they discover that they're both bottoms. Yay.
Didn't need to know that.
Didn't need to know that, but also, why did you not discuss this before?
Well, because they didn't talk about sex at all, remember? Because then he would have had to tell her that, he's still seeing other people.
Okay, I'm going to just keep going. They get separate rooms at the hotel. Yes, I'm breathing. I thought that was a great move on Faith's part. Again, she's really thinking with her head. Wonderful. Loren wants to speed things up, and he says, if they have separate hotels rooms, then they can't really grow their relationship. Well, duh. Of course you can't. That's the whole point. You are in the friend zone, Loren. You did bad things. You have to make it up to her first before she will consider letting you out of the friend zone, and then she may consider sharing a hotel room with you. But no, he just wants to skip all the steps in between.
Well, he's getting treatment for his leaky penis, so it should be fine now.
Should be fine. Yeah. And then, my God, the criticism that Loren decides to impart concerning Faith's penis, that it's not a female penis. Okay, he hasn't seen it, thank God. He's been nowhere near it, thank God. But he claims this is not a female penis yet because Faith is not on hormones. So therefore, it's not the kind of penis that I like. This is so disgusting. Like you said many episodes ago, he's fetishizing the fact that she is a trans woman. And this is one of the ways that he does that. It is so degrading. So utterly despicable. Gross, icky, yuck, bleh, yike. Exclamation point.
Big yike on that one. I couldn't even comment on it because after I heard it, it was like, no,
Thank you.
You are awful.
Yeah.
Awful human being.
And
go home.
Faith is a saint to be hanging out with him. But I mean, she didn't hear that. That was into the camera. That was in confessionals. But if she heard that, she would be devastated.
I would hope so. Not because I want her to be devastated, but I would like for her to hear it so that she can take into consideration when she makes her next move or her decision about the relationship. I think she needs to have all of the information. So again, I don't want her to be hurt, though I do want her to know who this man truly is, which is a despicable, creepy, gross man.
Part of the thing that makes him really despicable for me is that he's not even paying his child support to his ex-wife, which is just terrible. But compounded with that, when he's saying to Faith, oh, what would you think if I bought your parents a house? Trying to lure her in with the promise of a house, which he can't even afford. He doesn't even have the $2,000 that would take to pay for this.
And he's wildly out of spec when it comes to how much it would actually cost. That's neither here nor there. Like whether it's $2,000 or $200,000, he doesn't have the money anyway. So what does it matter?
No. And your first responsibility would be to hand over that $2,000 to your ex-wife to pay for your kids who are living without any kind of child support whatsoever and have been for a couple of years at least, right? It's just awful. And the fact that she doesn't know that, Faith doesn't know at this moment that he's not paying child support to his children back in the U.S., that he's thinking about escaping to the Philippines so that he will have no way of paying the ex-wife to support the kids, and that the mom and her lawyers, I guess, would have no way of getting to Loren to garnish his wages in any way, shape, or form if he was living in the Philippines. If she knew all of that that's what his intent was in escaping to the Philippines, I would hope that she would get rid of him forthwith. Yeah.
Well, I don't think she's going to want him 100%. The Philippines don't want him. It's going to bring nothing to anyone over there.
Yeah.
So send him back. But you know what? I'm not an American, but I'm pretty sure I can speak for every American who has and will ever watch this. But the U.S. doesn't want him either. But at least, if he is in the U.S., it might be easier to garnish his wages if he ever gets a job that's actually on the books.
Let's move on. Forget about this piece of trash. Tigerlily and Adnan.
My comments are very short. Nothing. Period.
Very succinct. Yeah. And basically encapsulate everything that didn't happen. The tears, the baby voice, the whining, I could not handle it. I would say grossed me out, but no, it wasn't that. It was just that I'm so annoyed by it. Go away. You can fly there whenever you want to. You have bags upon bags of money. You can go back to Jordan and see your husband whenever you want to. This is not the end of the world. Please.
But she has the emotional maturity of
a hamster?
Well, I was going to say of a child who's just about to hit puberty.
Not even. That's too much credit. Too much credit.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you're discrediting the hamster's emotional.
The spectrum of the hamster may be a little bit larger than her emotional spectrum. You're right. I apologize to hamsters. My sincere apologies. Let's move on.
Perfect.
Renee and Judy were not on the show this week, thank God. And next week, Bozo still isn't answering the phone, or is he? Loren is going to meet faith-based family, and he doesn't want to tell the truth. Of course he doesn't. He doesn't want
Whoa.
the family to know what a horrible person he is. Surprise. Tigerlily has been home for 2 months, and she feels controlled by Adnan. How strange. How did this come to be?
Who knew?
I don't understand. He must have changed. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just so out of character.
It is. It is. That is why I'm saying he's changed. Niles and Matilda will fight over semantics, as expected. Brian meets Ingrid's family, and this goes over like a lead balloon. Can't wait. Chicken Lady is back, and Chitty seems to want her again. What? I need some explanation. I need to prepare myself for this because it's going to be very, very difficult for me emotionally. I think I may have a breakdown. He doesn't want her back, does he? Please tell me it isn't so.
No, he definitely does not. Again, I believe that this is a production plant. You know how they like to do that editing thing?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all right.
Breathe, B.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I know my blood pressure is returning back to normal. I can feel it. Nice. Our bonus content this week is for the Alleyway Season 6, Episode 16. And we started with Dempsey and Statler. I can't believe this. 2 weeks have passed since Statler arrived in England and that the couple have been together traveling. It seems like it's been years, but it's only 2 weeks.
I don't know. It felt like days based on the amount that they've been fighting.
Oh,
days.
Statler is about to start work again from the van in this beautiful location in French Alps. But slight problem. There's no internet in the middle of the mountains. Of course not. So all they have to do is drive the van to a different location where there is a good signal, and they pack up everything, and Eureka, she has a signal. Fantastic.
Another beautiful spot.
Yeah. All of it's beautiful. All of it. But each time that there is a problem that comes up with this couple, Statler is the one who notifies Dempsey that there is an issue, and Dempsey is the one who has to go find a solution, make it happen, put it all together, make it work. Because Statler becomes a toddler who's incapable of figuring out even the smallest, simplest thing, like this plug will not fit into this receptacle because the receptacle is smaller than the plug. So therefore you need an adapter. She cannot handle that. This whole scene was so painful to see how useless Statler is and how hopeless she is pretending to be. I want to make that very clear. She is pretending. She is a woman who has lived on her own for many, many years. She is capable of figuring out how things work and of finding a solution, buying an adapter, whatever it is that she needs. And as somebody who has traveled to Europe while working before, I know that you have many hours in the morning when nobody is up yet in North America, but you are up in Europe and you can do things, accomplish tasks, check your internet signals, set up your workstation, make sure that everything is in place well before anybody in North America is at their desk so that you're ready by the time they come to work and you can all work happily together.
As someone who has witnessed you do that,
Well,
yes. Like, why would you wait until the last possible second? Like, I know that that's an ADHD thing, as someone who has ADHD myself. However, this is the only source of income that you have. So wouldn't you have the forethought to make sure that it works before you do it? Especially because you just got a tax advance. You got a pay advance. Now you've been off for 2 weeks. And now she claims she's going to have to work for the next 30 days. Well, if it was that important, would you not have figured that out earlier? And also, have you not checked your emails or anything?
Yeah, there has to have been a signal at some point for them to know, for her to check her work emails to figure out, oh, I have to be ready for this point. Or, yeah, all of these excuses were total baloney. I didn't believe any of them. And I found it extremely offensive when she referred to Dempsey as a van wife. Like, is that a reasonable expectation to have of your partner? treating the other person like they will have to drop everything the moment there's a problem in order to cater to your needs, no matter what's going on, no matter what the circumstances, or no matter how that person feels even, or how badly you're treating them. I really didn't feel like it was fair to Dempsey.
I felt like it was a passive aggressive projection onto Dempsey because Statler is now feeling resentful
Yeah.
of the fact that she has to work while Dempsey gets to go out and gallivant around town and get to see the scenes or the scenery and just gets to actually do the traveling while Statler's stuck in the van working. But also, what did you think was gonna happen? Did you have any discussions about this before? Like, what is Dempsey supposed to do? Just sit in the van while you work? No, she's going to be using your money to pay for all these little things that she's doing while you work.
I don't
Because
know.
that's also what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it is what they wanted to do. And yes, they did discuss it. We know that they had conversations about what the dynamic was going to be when they're on the road, because they made this agreement that Statler was going to be the main breadwinner. Dempsey was going to be doing odd jobs along the way as she could in order to earn a little bit of extra cash. But for the most part, she's using the money that she had received from the sale of her caravan, the sale of her car, whatever stuff it was that she was selling in the UK, minus, of course, the cost of the van, which she put in half. So there was already an agreement, and Statler, and we've seen this time and time again, when they get into this disagreement, Statler acts as if none of those conversations took place in the past, and that it's all Dempsey bringing this up now to make a bigger problem for Statler. And then Statler reacts in a way that is over the top, because, in fact, Dempsey is just working according to their previous plan, but Statler is not.
Think that Statler had these grandiose ideas or dreams about what this would look like, and now that she's seeing the reality of it, she's greatly disappointed in herself for doing it, and also for Dempsey for not being psychic and to know about how she feels without communicating it.
Yeah, all that stuff is really destructive in a relationship.
And Dempsey has to govern herself according to these thoughts that Statler has, and again, without communication,
which she doesn't share with Dempsey. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Dempsey's just supposed to know.
I wrote down, how you can really see how much resentment is building up in Statler on her very first day. The very first day. What's it going to be like on day 20? Right. What's it going to be like on day 60?
And to Dempsey's credit, I don't give her much. I will give her this one. She said she was going to go into town and she picked up the adapter. She came home and she completed the task.
Yeah, she did. What more can you ask? She did everything that Statler wanted her to do, asked of her, and she did something for herself, which you may disagree with, that, why are you taking this trip on your own up a mountain, which is so beautiful and could be shared with your partner. But I feel like that's maybe not the right response, because Dempsey was so stressed out by what Statler was asking of her in their previous argument that I felt like she deserved a bit of time alone and to do something nice for herself. Because you do have to look after yourself. Self-care, we keep hearing that word all the time nowadays. You have to look after your own feelings and your own mental state first in order to be able to look after your partner as well. The other thing that I noted particularly is, aside from the fact that Statler has chosen this lifestyle and she's not acknowledging that, she's making it seem like she's the victim here, which again is complete baloney. She says, I have to work. That's her excuse for not being able to do anything with Dempsey when Dempsey reveals that she's gone up the mountain for the next 30 days, non-stop. No weekends, no breaks, nothing, non-stop. And I was like, what is this? Is this punishment for having taken the 2 weeks off? Is this
in advance? She has to pay it back somehow.
Okay. So maybe it's paying back the advance, but in which case she has chosen, again, your choice, Statler, to take these 30 days consecutively to pay back the advance that you asked for, rather than selling your car to have the money that way. Yeah. But oh no, I'm the victim and it's all Dempsey's fault and everybody needs to cater to me first because I'm the most important person here. I'm the one who's earning all of the money.
Yeah. And again, it's the projecting that resentment.
Yeah.
Because like Statler's not cognitively disabled. I would be very surprised if she wasn't able to put two and two together with regards to this situation. She just needs to acknowledge that these are her mistakes. These are her choices that she has to take responsibility for. And she can't just keep taking everything out on Dempsey. And I'm not saying that Dempsey's without fault, because we all know how I feel about her. But at what point is Statler going to acknowledge what she's done, like her part in this?
But even more than that, once she acknowledges her part in everything, she would be released from that pressure, and she would be able to enjoy herself. She would be able to be happy. And she can't even do it for herself.
Why would you do that?
She's so short-sighted. She drives me absolutely batty. And I found that toward the end of their segment, when we see Dempsey and she seems to really be breaking down, the reality is definitely setting in for her, for Dempsey, regarding the smallness of the space that they now occupy and like, where is she supposed to go during the day? Because she mentioned that Statler's office is the bed. So she can't go and lie down, and Statler's working these long hours for 30 days straight. There's no companionship. There's no fun. There's no liveliness. There's no joy. And all of these happy, positive emotions are such a core part of who Dempsey is. I'm overlooking all of the problems for the moment, but just to look at who she was before Statler came into her life, she was very joyful. She's definitely somebody who needs happiness to be present in every day, and she's not getting that. So this is a ticking time bomb. Explosion is imminent.
Oh, we've said this from the very beginning. They're just not compatible. Statler is just going to be like sucking the joy out of everything. And again, I don't like Dempsey. I think they both deserve exactly what's happening.
I think they both deserve completely different partners. They need to have made a better choice. Equally, they're both responsible for that.
They're reaping the benefits of their choices right now, so I don't feel bad for either one of them.
Let's go to James and Natalia. I think we've wasted enough breath on Statler and Dempsey. Why are you laughing? What is that all about?
Because my first note is controlling parents. Great way to disappoint everyone.
Yeah. James's decision to talk about the fact that he does not want kids at the point when they're tasting the food for their wedding.
Yeah.
The timing was chef's kiss. Terrible timing.
You don't think that might have an impact on whether or not her parents support you going through with this Indonesian wedding?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they can't even wrap their minds around the concept of a childless marriage. It's so foreign to them.
Yeah. Well, maybe in a few years.
Yeah, okay. Well, this compromise is very, very problematic. Because, first of all, James is lying through his teeth. He does not want kids, period.
Yeah.
And saying that, oh, yeah, maybe I will in a few years is deceitful to the parents. But more importantly, it's deceitful to Tata. And if she really wants to have a family, which it does appear that she wants to have, then for God's sake, be honest with her so that she can move on with her life and find somebody who does want to have children. Because otherwise, they're just going to end up in a whole heap of problems down the road where she resents him because he never allowed her to have a family. And yeah,
this is where we're at.
It is. Gotta just say truthful things, people. When you're in a relationship, it really helps things move along well if you're honest about how you feel and what your goals are.
But why would you communicate any of that?
Well, I know it's much more fun not to communicate it because then we get to have all these explosive roller coaster moments. But time, people, you're wasting time. It's somebody's life.
Everyone's. And mine. You're wasting my time. I don't want to see your baloney.
No, I don't either.
It's just so frustrating because, like, they're both so immature and naive and lacking in any kind of forethought or ability to critically assess any situation. And their communication skills are absolutely awful. It's just, I absolutely detest watching these two. They're just, it's almost like their stupidity like bounces off of each other and makes like this monumental bouncing thing
All of
just
stupidity.
nonsense.
Yeah. They have no common sense between the two of them. Giving up the really good paying job in the States to move to Indonesia with no job prospects whatsoever. Stupid. Not telling your wife that you don't want to have kids from the get-go when you know that she does want to have a family. Stupid. Having a second wedding in Indonesia when you have no income and no money and a whole bunch of debt. Stupid? Yeah.
Scotch agrees.
He does. Wow. That's a very, very sound assessment, Scotch. Thank you. Thank you.
But what'd you think about the chicken? I know, I'd eat it too. I don't know the difference between the, what was it, the village chicken and the longhorn chicken. I'm not quite sure, but I'd like to do a taste test to see if Tata's dad, if he has a point about having to have both of them, because not everyone likes the longhorn chicken versus the village chicken. If those are even the right breeds. What do you do? Don't know, but we didn't, like, are they only going to have the two choices of chicken and then whatever the other dish was?
They shouldn't be having any chicken. Just forget about the wedding. You don't need it.
Chicken for you.
You're already married. Just have a party with cake. Cake. It's the way to go. I'm telling you. Forget the chicken.
It's so irritating because, like, aren't her parents paying off their, $15,000 worth of debt or something?
We don't know that that's actually happening. We know that the offer was made, but we don't know that it's occurring.
Yes. Well, anyway, they should probably throw in a couple extra $1,000 to pay for this wedding too, because if they know how dire the situation is, I can't imagine that, the kids would be covering it.
No.
I think it's just another one of those storylines. Well, let's just pretend that we're going to have to pay for it. But we know that our parents are paying for it, which is why her parents are at the tasting.
Can we move away from these people?
Gratefully.
Okay. We have one last couple left. Josh and Lily. So now we're adding a fourth person to all of the people who are visiting, staying in the house together. We've got Vivian, Lily's daughter, coming for a visit, while we also have Jared, Josh's brother, in the house. We are now four. And Vivian's perspective on the situation I found to be very interesting, very illuminating. She says, Josh does not help around the house. He refuses to do anything. He will not work, as in get a job, but that is due to circumstances beyond his control.
Yep.
But he will not work around the house. He will not lift a finger to help. And he, as she describes it, says that he should be treated like a king. Then she brings up this controversy of another woman, the Vietnamese woman, who Josh was dating, it appears, at the same time as Lily online.
But she died.
But she died. It was tragic. She was swept away in an avalanche of monkeys in the hillside of Vietnam while helicopters were circling.
Sorry.
Stupid lie. She did not die. She's still alive. Saying that a person is dead to you does not mean that they are actually dead. For heaven's sakes, Josh.
He's limited.
What is wrong with him?
I don't know.
Okay.
But what's wrong with both of them? Because the alienation that Lily is, I don't. Sorry.
Are you okay?
Loud. Yeah, you just knocked my drink over.
Oh dear.
All over my. Thanks, cat.
Oh dear.
Well, I'll have to clean that up.
Okay.
Anyway, the alienation with just, first of all, I think it's disgusting that Lily shares so much with her kid about her relationship.
Yeah.
I really think that's awful. There is a psychological term for that.
Yeah.
I didn't write it down.
It's like infantilizing something. I can't remember either. Yeah, I know
Okay,
there's a
well,
term for it, but if you're a parent and you're oversharing with your child about your relationships and anything sexual, that is psychological damage to the child, and you should
yes,
not do it.
and that is a different form of abuse.
Mhm.
Even though the intent is not to actually harm your child,
That is,
that's
your
what
relationship
it
is not your child's responsibility, so you should not be sharing intimate details or very, very descriptive details of what's going on and them having to feel like that's a burden to them. It's their responsibility to fix it if there's a problem or they're getting too much knowledge, which really should not be shared with them.
should not be discussed at all.
No.
So now with the alienation, Lily's telling her kid so much that her kid is now using this information, and it's obviously changing her perspective of Josh. And that's information that she shouldn't know at all. I think it's very disgusting. And the fact that Lily says that her kid is her best friend, it's like, don't you have any other friends to share this with? Like, do you call her for literally everything? And then the next sentence out of her mouth was, I call my kid for everything.
Yeah, I know. It's
You
really a
need
shame.
friends.
You you should not be calling your daughter for all of this information sharing. You should be calling a peer.
And especially like when you're fighting with your partner,
Yeah.
like, sure, it's one thing to be like, oh, we didn't agree on this or whatever. But then for her to be sharing all those intimate details is just so disgusting.
Yeah.
Why would you think that your kid would ever want to hear that?
And it's a betrayal to Josh too.
Yeah. How much do you want to bet Jared doesn't know half as much as what Vivian does
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
with the details,
And all of this stuff that Lily has been sharing with her daughter has led to the point where Vivian now dislikes Josh so much that she doesn't even want to see him. Then they all
And Lily did that herself
Lily,
by oversharing.
Lily is responsible for that. So they go out to dinner, the four of them, and again, Jordan is playing the peacemaker role. I think
Jordan? Jared?
Thank you. Whoop.
That's like, whoa, did I miss a new couple?
Jared is playing the peacemaker role. He should charge for his services.
Oh,
Honestly,
he's so good.
he's amazing.
Can we get him to host the tell-all?
Oh, what a great idea! I like it. I like it a
Yes.
lot. Vivian certainly does not pull any punches during this discussion. She immediately brings up the other woman, the Vietnamese woman. Everything gets very, very, very messy. Jared points out that Josh isn't actually answering Vivian's questions, and she deserves an answer. And Josh does not take kindly to any of them questioning how he's going to choose to answer these questions or not answer them. He is so transparent. He's on the defensive 1000%, and he is completely unwilling to answer any question directly and give an honest opinion because he knows no matter what he says, he's screwed because he did the wrong thing. He pretended that this woman had died when she had not to ingratiate himself back into Lily's good opinions so that she would date him again. It's really,
I completely agree. There's nothing that he's going to be able to say that's really going to, I don't think there's anything that he can say that's going to bring him back from this.
And everybody at the table is upset with him. And he still can't recognize that, oh, maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe I did something bad and I need to fix it, make amends, atone, whatever. Instead, he just stands his ground and is like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'm going to distract everybody by moving the target, by changing the subject and making it all her fault, your daughter's fault. Your daughter's going to ruin our marriage. She's the reason. Like, come on. That was just bad. That was so bad.
I found it very uncomfortable. And as you were explaining it, I had visions of Gino and his family calling him out on his BS and standing up for Jasmine. And then he flips the script and blames Jasmine for, I think it was something sexual.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, oh, wow. Nobody needs to hear that. And a very similar feeling that I got with this conversation.
Absolutely. When the person is on the defensive so much, and then they try to move the goalposts, make it a different subject, distract away. Don't look here, look there, it's your fault. You know,
It's your fault.
You know they're on shaky ground. They have nothing with which to defend themselves. They're just trying relentlessly to get away from it and to put the target on somebody else.
I'm not that bad. Somebody else is worse.
Yeah. Way, way worse. Way worse than me. Oh, I like the fact that they ended this by Lily saying that she wants them to take some time to consider whether or not they're going to have their traditional Chinese wedding ceremony. Yeah, of course you would want time to think about that, consider whether or not it's worth it to go through with it, if that's what you really want, if things are actually heading in a positive direction, which it seems like they're not. So good for her.
Perhaps she's going to leave Josh and get together with Jared, because we don't know if he's married or not. I haven't noticed a wedding ring.
I don't know.
She seems to value and appreciate him so much.
He would have made a better choice.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I think him in return, whether or not he has romantic feelings for her, he's just a nicer dude.
I would second that.
More Jared.
And less Jordan, please.
I'm so confused. I'm like, I know I'm sick, but did I really miss out on an entirely new?
We did not see Sean and Joanne this week. We did not see Corona and Inky this week. We did see Shekinah and Sarpa this week, but no, thank you.
No, thank you.
Any final words? Scott, go clean up your mess. Those are my final words. Naughty cat.
Scott.
You owe Mummy a beverage. And before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.